And on that note, while we do realize that while Mr. Chaudhary also spoke about the customer centricity, that also leads us to inviting our next speaker as he focuses with a special address on how the consumer is in fact at the center of innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind everyone that this morning we also have another highly regarded thought leader who comes with over 3 decades of experience, and we'll have his special address around the fact that consumer indeed is at the center of innovation. So please put your hands together and please help me welcome Shri Rajesh Bansal, Chief Executive Officer, Reserve Bank Innovation Hub.
Can you hear me loud and clear? You can hear me loud and clear? So very good morning, everyone. So I'm actually wondering whether I need to have this session because ED Mr. Chaudhary did mention it, customer at the center of innovation. So I'll try and attempt to explain. And honestly, this was not pre-planned. That ED and myself, we had not planned what we'll be speaking. The purpose is to nudge the financial sector, Fintechs included, banks included, to keep the customer at the center. I thought I'll spend a few minutes because there are a lot of questions. Even just now, somebody asked a question on Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. I don't have time for a survey, but very keen to know how many people have heard of us before today, before now. Thank goodness, the number is increasing. Numbers used to be 30%, I think it's getting to 50%. So aim is to understand. We are a wholly owned subsidiary of the Reserve Bank of India, set up last year. We are in Bangalore. I want to re-emphasize that. Everybody I meet, they text me, that they think they are in Mumbai. We are in Bangalore. Our doors are always open. Please come and visit us, and we will be keen to learn. What is our mission? Frictionless finance for 1 billion Indians. And that is the role which young minds, ignited minds like you can play a role in. What is our motto? Innovation, Navanmesh, inclusion, and creating impact for the country. What is our approach? Because the question is, all of this sounds good, but how do we go about it? And I think a gentleman here asked the question. We work with banks, non-banks, NBFCs, fintechs, technology companies, state governments, central governments, academia. VC community, we have regular meetings with IVCA. So mind you, it looks like a laundry list, but the reality is that we have already started working in our 15 months of existence with all of them, including, as ED Mr. Chaudhary said, IIT Madras, IIT Mumbai, IIM Ahmedabad. We are already speaking to domestic innovation hubs, global innovation hubs, including BIS, including Singapore. So this is what we do. We work with other regulators, talking to other regulators in India already. And with this, what you want to do is create a shared vision amongst all stakeholders. So each of these entities are contributing to a lot to the mission, but we are trying to create a shared vision among all of us so that we can have a multiplier effect and have more meaningful impact on the lives of an ordinary Indian. So let's come to the key topic. How do we accurately map friction and focus on the customer journey? And I'll give you an example where the Honorable Governor spoke about one project, Kisan Credit Card. I'm sure a lot of people in this room are not sure what a Kisan Credit Card is. Maybe I'll spend 30 seconds on that as well. So end-to-end digitalization of KCC lending, RBI announced it about 2 weeks ago. And then a pilot has gone live on Monday, as the Honorable Governor mentioned, in 2 states. What is KCC Kisan Credit Card? Basically, it's a way of lending to the farmer. It's a credit card, kind of a revolving credit, if I want to put it simply for the audience here who are largely urban. So that's a mechanism. There have been a lot of improvements made in the scheme by the RBI and the Government of India. And there are 120 million farmers who are more or less eligible for this scheme. Mind you, This is what a journey looks like. I don't know for how many of you the journey of accessing your financial institution looks like this. I bank with one of the largest private banks in the country. I will obviously not name them, but life is not easy for us either, not just as a farmer. When I have to do my re-KYC, it takes me visits to the bank branch. They even tell me, I'm in Bangalore now, sir, you may need to go to the base branch, which is Delhi. I'm like, are you kidding me? Which regulation says that? No, no, sir, whatever rules they give me. My mother, who's 80 years old, had a re-KYC issue. She said, we don't care, whatever age. She has to go to the home branch in Delhi and get it done. Look at the friction. I'm sure if we were to do a survey, all of us face friction. That's not just the farmer, all of us face friction. Because, unfortunately, we do not put the customer at the center of innovation. And as I talk more about this, when we started thinking about it, we asked ourselves, okay, what is the customer journey of a farmer? We obviously had a lot of discussion with RBI. We looked at the master circular of RBI. We spoke to a number of banks. We spoke to a lot of civil society. Can you give us a detailed customer journey map? Answer was, if I will be very candid, they gave us 3 boxes: application stage, assessment stage, dispersal stage. This is not a customer journey. Come on, guys. Let's do a proper detailed customer journey. So what did we discover? Our team went to 2 districts, one in Tamil Nadu, one in Karnataka, and tried to figure out what is happening. I'll not dwell too much on it. There's an application stage, they fill up a form, and in one of the districts, the document writer charges a stupendous amount of money to fill up the form because it is a border district. So Tamil and Kannada issue. I don't want to mention the number, it's killing. So this is the first thing, application stage. Then the verification stage, where the duration is 3 to 7 days, the pre-sanction inspection, a bank official, the verification of documents. Then there is an assessment stage, assessment of the eligibility, including scale of finance, including some other parameters. It takes another 3 to 5 days. So eventually, the farmer, and there is an approval stage, which also includes calling the farmer to the branch for signing of the loan agreement. So eventually, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks and multiple visits to a bank branch, as the governor did elucidate in his address. So we asked ourselves, we went to the drawing board with the banks and fintechs, hey, let's map out each of the process and see how can we digitalize the process, right? This is anyway, I have explained the key things before we go into the solutioning. Paper-based process, manual documentation, high turnaround time, and obviously additional cost for the farmer, including the opportunity cost of losing half a day wage or not working because they have to visit the bank branch or the lawyer or the land record office. So solution is just an example of how we think. We looked at digitalization of the key processes. The fact you've been hearing for the last 2 days, India has one of the best, or perhaps the best, public digital infrastructure. How do we leverage that public digital infrastructure to ensure that everybody in the country benefits? Digitalization. We spoke to the state governments, government of Tamil Nadu, government of Madhya Pradesh, to start with, and they were very proactive. They worked with our team, they worked with the banks. They exposed APIs and ensured that a land record verification can happen through an API instantly. There were automation of key processes within the banks that we worked with. Our team worked with the banks, and the banks were nice enough to actually think horizontally and make this happen. Obviously, integration of services like using APIs, not just land record, there are other APIs. I don't want to take you through all the 9 or 10 steps, but that's what we've been able to achieve. So eventually, a frictionless journey for the farmer, no paper, reduce application turnaround time. So farmer can go to the bank branch or the bank can come to the farmer, and one visit. End-to-end digital loan will be in the account of the farmer. The pilot has started. We will evaluate the pilot in the guidance of RBI and look at how do we achieve something. Thank you. Thank you for the inspiration. Elimination of additional cost by the farmer. Imagine if your life, there's a lot of discussion on digital lending. You and I can download an app and actually borrow. A farmer can also tomorrow download an app of the bank and do self-service. But we'll get there. We are working with the ecosystem, including the bright mind sitting here, to look at how do we achieve this in an assisted as well as self-service mode. So coming to that's just one example. How do we ensure that we as a financial sector are a good listener? I know a lot of you are making a lot of effort in being a good listener, mapping customer journey. How do you reduce friction? Are we there? My personal view, not as the CEO of RBIH, we have a long way to go. So let's look at some of the key ingredients. Sentiment analysis. So my colleague is sitting here, Abhishek. He did a good customer service sentiment analysis of BFSI apps. What did he do? He looked at Play Store, 50,000 reviews each per bank, per fintech, analysis to help improve UI, UX. Don't worry, I'm not going to name the fintechs or the banks here. It's a general anonymized data. The most interesting highlight was banks complement the complement. What does it mean? When he presented to our team, we thought, oh, wow, that's great. Banks are very proactive. Unfortunately, again, there's nothing banks versus fintechs or whatever. We're just taking an example. What we realize is when there is a 5-star rating by a customer, banks immediately say, wow, great, thank you very much. And unlike that, fintechs, when there's a bad rating, they come down and immediately respond with, sorry about it, we'll take care, and all of that. So that's what it means. Complement the complement. I'm sure you've experienced it yourself. Fintech founders are sitting here, banks are sitting here. What do the users like about the various categories? For public sector banks, they like net banking. That's great. For private banks, also they like net banking. For fintechs, they like user friendliness. They give a 5-star. This is the average 5-star rating for the fintechs that were analyzed. So that is what we discovered. We plan to do more of this with the help of the industry. What the users did not like? Interestingly, if you notice, user experience for public sector banks, 1 star. Customer service of private sector banks, 1 star. And the same for customer service for fintech. Actually, that was shocking. I requested him, have you double-checked? He said, sir, I have run the data analytics again and again. But interestingly, some of the customer care is 1 star. I'm not sure. We'll work with you to see how do we improve the user experience in all the 3 categories. Yeah. So let's compare some apps. I realize my team told me, sir, there's a heavy slide. Okay. There is a set of apps on the left, and there is a set of apps on the right. Which one would we like to use? I would vote for the one on the right-hand side. I don't know. Right? The reason is, as ED also mentioned, this is a cluttered interface. Honestly, we have tried to ensure that it is whitelisted to the extent. It is anonymous. There is no bank out there. So apologies if you can make out which bank it is and which fintech it is on the right. There are, applications, there are apps which are so cool. I have learned over the last few months talking to a lot of fintechs, where they've actually looked at building an experience which is like Google experience, which means that you can not just discover a product on the app by just typing in the way you type on Google. You can also decide to put 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees. If Dhoni, it's a 6. I'm sorry, I'm a bit dated, so I mentioned Dhoni. I know he's retired. Just as an example, Sunil Gavaskar was my favorite, but that's too old, right? Hits a 6. What is stopping us in financial services to make that happen? So some of the things which we looked at, how do we reimagine customer experience? I think because of the large screen, honestly, I didn't mean to cut it off. Because the large screen, the underline has become a cross off. Sorry about that. So let's reimagine together. I'm sure a lot of us use Spotify, right? And I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, why did he bring us Spotify? What does Spotify do in the morning when you open it? It gives you a playlist for today. When you open it on the weekend, it gives you a playlist for the weekend. It will ask you for your mood and it will give you a playlist. Can the financial sector offer a playlist? And I'll clarify what it means by a playlist. I'm not saying offer a Spotify playlist or some other Ghana playlist. My bank knows, honestly, I use that app for the last 15 years. They know when I log in, or even it's internet banking. On the 31st of the month, I do 1, 2, 3. Can they not give me a playlist which allows me to just click that and everything happens? That's a Spotify experience. I just took Spotify because that is Gen Z, that is an app known for great customer experience. Can we think of designing a playlist? It's just an example for financial services. I'm not sure if any of you are already doing it. It would be great to learn from you. Let's look at creating that impact, that experience, and make financial services fun, interesting, and rather than making it boring. Because my colleagues sitting here, my young people in my office, the 25-year-olds want cool experience. So some of the suggestions that we have been discussing with the industry is identifying what customer needs. So like the example of the farmer, we are looking at working with you and we request you to look at what a customer needs. We talk to a lot of fintech founders sometimes, and as expected, they are high on technology. I've asked them, have you done a survey of 1,000 customers to identify what is the pain point you are solving? A few of them obviously do it, but a few of them never do that. I know of a couple of founders, I don't want to name, they spend 2 hours every day. They're big companies, unicorns. They spend 2 hours every day talking to the customer, what does the customer need? That's amazing, right? That's what we need to do to actually to improve trust in the financial service, to improve adoption. Adaptive menus. What is adaptive menu? Again, when I land up on a bank app or any app, the app knows that invariably Rajesh comes here to do one thing. Mostly he will come here to send money. Just give me a clean menu which says adaptive menu, depending on my uncle might be doing something else every day. Isn't that possible? AI, ML, I'm sure all of you are thinking about it. All of us should ideally think about it. Why does iPhone work? Great, because it gives you a menu which is cool. And my niece is today 3 years, but I remember as a 1-year-old, she shocked me. She figured out how to play her cartoon video on YouTube, and it is hilarious. I wish I could show you here. She went tuck, tuck, tuck. She realized something has gone wrong. She did something. She landed at her 1-year-old. That's intuitive menus. And we talk about improvement and widening and deepening of financial sector. That's the kind of experience we need to offer. Understand behavioral insights. We would like to work with all of you in the industry to understand the consumer better. We are talking to some behavior insights experts also, because I know it's sometimes an overload for a young startup to do that, but would be happy to work with all of you. Accessible in multiple languages. So we are also going to do some study with all of you to look at how many apps or how many internet banking services are offered in multiple languages. Because unless we do that, we are not sure how far we can take this with English or even just Hindi. Seamless experience across channels. So I lodged a complaint for an ATM. Money didn't come over an IVRS. Why can't I pick up that complaint in my customer journey? Because customers choose different channels depending on the mood they are in, depending on the way they want to experience. So when I drop off my IVRS, my app, I should be able to continue my journey on the app. Doesn't happen. And okay, again, my personal experience just a couple of months back, I did my re-KYC. I got an email, re-KYC done. I was like, okay, great, after whatever struggle. That same evening, I tried to send money for something to my sister. Did it work? It blocked me on the app saying your re-KYC is due. It did not allow me to operate it. I tried net banking, it did not allow me to operate. So what has happened that the customer master for different channels is not updated. And then when we asked them how do we make it happen, they said 48 hours on the app. Wow. Imagine, I don't know how many of you have been through this. Why can't we have seamless experience across channels? Voice recognition. I'm sure some of you are already working on it. We are talking to IIM Ahmedabad and others to look at how can voice become the dominant way. Because digital literacy, is critical. The trust is critical. Why is WhatsApp where it is? It's so easy. The other day, my mother-in-law, who is 80 years, sent me a message. Free ho to call karna. I was like, oh, cool. You have learned how to do voice. WhatsApp, after 3 years of using WhatsApp. That's what we need to do in financial services. Good UI, UX, we have dwelt on it. Tailored products. I'll talk to you in a minute about that. Conversational AI. So when there's a debate in my team about whether Zomato, Swiggy, conversational AI is great or not. My experience is great. Whenever I have a problem, very rarely though, I just say, hey, I didn't get Upma supplied. They'll say, hey, what do you want? You want the money or you want the replacement? I'll say, I want the money in my wallet, and in few minutes, it's everything sorted. There were, chatbots which were started a few years back by a number of banks, but because they were not conversational AIs, they were not smart enough a few years back, most of the banks I speak to, they stopped using them. Can we start looking at conversational AIs which are smart? You can train them using AI, ML. I'm sure some of the fintechs already do. Banks are attempting to do. But we are here to work with you to make it the journey easier. And on-demand services. When I want, what I want, where I want. Aren't we all used to Uber, Ola? Aren't we all used to food delivery? Aren't we used to an Amazon, Flipkart? So why can't financial services be offered to us when we need them, to all the Indians? The fact that India has the best digital infrastructure. Access in multiple languages, obviously we have dealt on it. Good UI, UX, we have spoken about it in detail. Seamless experience on the channel. That's where I was saying, start where you left off. I might lodge a complaint on the net banking, and then we on the app, give me the update on what the customer complaint was. Hey, your ATM complaint has been resolved and your money is recredited. That's possible. But I speak to a lot of CRM experts. We do a lot of discussion with everyone because just to clarify, we don't know all the problems, we don't know all the solutions. We learn from you, we bring you together to help solve the problems for the industry. Tailored products. So this is an interesting one. When I said, give me a product I want, when I want, where I want. A dairy farmer has daily economic flows. But interestingly, I have not heard of a single entity offering a daily loan repayment product. Let the customer choose the rate of interest depending on the, the daily repayment, weekly repayment, or monthly repayment, or whatever. All of that is possible. A beginning has been made. Let's make tailored products as a priority. So it's time to build the finance of tomorrow. And we look forward to working with all of you to enable this finance for tomorrow. Thank you very much. Maybe we can, I see you a few minutes. I know we ran over, but I'm happy to take a couple of questions if, sorry, I see nobody there. Can you have the lights on, please?
Yeah. Good morning, sir. Thank you for your address.
Sorry, where are you?
Yeah, to your left.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Extreme left. Yeah.
Oops, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you for your address, sir. So I have two questions. So firstly, do you think fintech as an innovation, a future of money, or a mode of changing the behavior of social? Also, do you think fintechs are disturbed by the negative market sentiments?
Sorry, what was the second part?
Do you think fintechs are disturbed by the negative market sentiments?
The second one, I'm sure I know what you are referring to. Let's avoid that part. Okay. The first one, I mean, fintechs are here to, again, finance and technology, let's call it that. The financial services, whether it's a new generation, new age fintechs such as yours maybe, or the banks themselves, there is time we can disrupt the entire financial services sector, lead to widening, deepening, improving trust. Because I didn't talk about the fact that consumer dispute resolution, a lot has been done by RBI, by the financial sector. Why can't we take that to the next level, like, as I mentioned, e-commerce or delivery companies? So, I mean, fintech can disturb everything. Finance and technology can disturb anything. So we are here, I think, for the next generation. Yeah. Anybody else?
Good morning, sir. This is Monindra Verma from Yes Bank. We have had privilege to interact with RBH, and absolutely thrilled to have RBH in the entire ecosystem. And I'm very convinced that given the plethora of agenda that India has, this is going to bring a lot of fillip, because this would be having all encompassing impact across the ecosystem player. I'm really curious to understand that what are the top priorities in order to have 80-20 impact, because few top items giving larger impact will, of course, must be one of the priority that you must be looking at. So curious to know that, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so I mean, I didn't want to present today and go into various priority areas, but one of the first ones, when we talk about frictionless, it's very generic. So frictionless, there are people who came and talked to us and said, well, tech, there is friction. I'm like, market will solve for itself. So the 120 million farmers, the dairy farmers, these people have real problems, and honestly, not many people have thought about it. So that's one important focus. Then beyond that, for emerging technology startups sitting here, I want to tell you AI ML is an important focus. How do we do, actually leverage AI ML for reducing frauds, for improving customer behavior, for adaptive menus, conversational AI. That's one. And then we've done a POC with 11 banks, including, I think yours was there as well, yes, on how do we build an interoperable blockchain network for the Indian banking sector. I can go on, but gender is another very critical thing. So if you ask me top four, these are the top four. I don't know whether I got it right, my team. There are at least 6 of them, but top four. Focus on developing suitable, sustainable products for low and middle income women in India.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks, Tan.
So no more questions, then we can wind up. Save 3 minutes for the audience, for the organizers. Yeah, there is one last question, maybe.
Morning, sir. My name is Ajay, and I'm from HDFC Bank. One important aspect is from the financial inclusion to economic inclusion, when we look at, is the account aggregation work happening around that space. I am aware that there is work happening on the assisted account aggregators. If you could, enlighten us a little bit on that, because that's where I think the lowest part of the economy would get included when it's assisted.
Okay. I wasn't sure you know about it. Okay. So when we spoke to the account aggregators and the banking system and FIUs, we realized that self-service account aggregator can potentially take us 300 million or 500 million in terms of credit needs. So we have set up a group led by the industry, of the industry, to explore, please mind the word explore, can assisted mode account aggregator help solve the problem of no smartphone, low trust, low digital literacy, and all of that. So the working group, I mean, HDFC is a part of that. I want to say more, we are exploring, mind you. So once, if everything seems to be fine, the protocols and everything, with including privacy and consent, then I think we plan to run a POC, as far as I have discussed with the group members. Let's see, but we need all of you to actually make that happen. Thank you. I think with this, thank you very much, audience, for your good question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that very beautifully detailed explanation about all the initiatives taken by the Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. And I'm sure there have been more questions. I could see a lot more hands raised, but I'm going to request you to please connect with all of our speakers offline in case of any further